A month before our wedding, Ethan brought Stella, his idealized first love, home. Grace, he said, Stella's traveling back to the country. I figured it wouldn't be safe for a woman alone in a hotel. She'll stay with us for a few days. You don't mind, do you? Stella came over and linked her arm through mine. Ethan, she purred. Don't think of Grace as so petty. Everyone says girls help girls. How could she possibly let me stay in a hotel all by myself? I pulled my hand away from hers. So, you know we're getting married soon? And yet, you two are both being disloyal and disrespectful to the relationship? Ethan, furious, took Stella's hand and stormed out. I turned and walked into the bedroom, locking the door behind me. I didn't cry, but I felt a chill run through my entire body. I sat in front of the vanity, looking at my reflection, pale, yet with unusually clear eyes. Grace. I thought. You almost really jumped into this pit of misery. My phone vibrated in my pocket. It was a text message from Ethan. Grace, you've really disappointed me. Stella's just in a tough spot right now. Why did you have to say such awful things? We need to cool off. I stared at the screen, my fingertips icy, then slowly typed my reply, no need to cool off. The wedding is off. Please come back as soon as possible and clear out all your things. And your Stella's things too. The message sent successfully, and I immediately turned off my phone. For the next 3 days, Ethan didn't come back and didn't contact me again. I took annual leave, and the first thing I did was call my college best friend, Vivian, who was absolutely thriving at her law firm. Vivian, in her 4-inch heels, rushed to my place. After I calmly recounted what happened, she slammed her hand on the table. Well done, Grace. You should have woken up sooner. Ethan is such a clueless loser. He should just be tossed out. She was incredibly efficient, helping me clear my head that same day. The immediate priority is to protect your assets. The house was bought together, but your family paid more for the down payment. You still have the transfer records, right? For the wedding planner and hotel fees. Get refunds where you can, for whatever you can't get back. Keep all payment proofs for later liquidation. I dug out all the receipts and bank statements. My mind unusually clear. Sadness? Maybe a little, but it was mostly a burning anger at being betrayed and a fierce determination to regain control. On the evening of the 4th day, Ethan finally returned. He wasn't alone. Stella was still trailing behind him, looking like a victor. The house felt different. Some of my clearly personal belongings had already been packed away, making the space feel somewhat empty. Ethan frowned and preemptively asked, Grace, are you still making a scene? Stella has already found a place. She'll move out in a couple of days. Let's talk this through properly. The wedding invitations have already gone out. I'm not making a scene. I interrupted him, my voice surprisingly calm. I'll say it again, the wedding is cancelled. Here's a list. The things you bought. And Ms. Stella's luggage temporarily stored here. Please pack them up and take them with you. I handed him a sheet of paper. Stella immediately looked on the verge of tears. Grace, you really misunderstood. It's my fault. I shouldn't have bothered Ethan. I'll leave right away, she said, but her eyes flickered towards Ethan. As expected, Ethan grabbed her arm, turning to me with a furious glare. Grace, do you have to be so aggressive? All these years of our relationship, are they worth less than this petty suspicion of yours? I looked at him, protecting another woman, and chuckled. Suspicion? Ethan, do I need to remind you that? During the critical period of our wedding preparations, you secretly brought your ex-girlfriend, your idealized first love, home to live with you? Do I need to remind you that when I expressed my displeasure, you chose to walk out holding her hand, abandoning your fiancé for 4 whole days? I took a step forward, looking directly at Stella, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Ms. Stella, girls help girls? Don't insult the phrase. What you're doing now is called usurping someone's place, and being a master manipulator. Stella's face instantly went stark white. Ethan's veins pulsed on his forehead in anger. Shut up. Apologize to Stella. You two are the ones who should apologize. I took out my phone, turning the screen toward them. It displayed my WhatsApp chat history with Vivian, along with a draft of a legal letter. I'm not negotiating with you. This is a draft legal letter concerning asset division and compensation for wedding losses. My lawyer will formally contact you. Now, please, immediately pack your things and leave my house. Oh, wait. It's still our house for now, but not for long. Ethan stared at me in disbelief, as if seeing me for the first time. He probably thought I'd cry, like in the past, and then soften up after a few comforting words from him. He didn't know that once a woman's heart truly turns cold, she can be more rational and unyielding than any man. The shock slowly faded from Ethan's face, replaced by offended indignation. A lawyer? Grace, are you serious? He stepped closer, trying to intimidate me with his height. For such a trivial matter, you're going to trample on all these years of our relationship and our dignity? Trivial? I almost wanted to applaud his ability to redefine words. Ethan, in your opinion, what constitutes a big deal? Does it have to be me and MS? Stella in wedding dresses, fighting over you at the church entrance. For it to be a big deal? Stella whimpered softly beside him, tugging at Ethan's sleeve. Ethan, please don't fight with Grace because of me. It's all my fault. I'll just leave, she said, yet didn't move an inch. You're the one who needs to leave, Stella. I couldn't be bothered to watch her act anymore, so I fixed my gaze on Ethan. And you, now, immediately, pack your things. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that the next people to see this draft legal letter won't be your company colleagues and mutual friends. I knew his weak spot. He cared most about his reputation and career prospects. Ethan's face completely changed. He stared fixedly at me, the last trace of warmth vanishing from his eyes. Fine, Grace. You're cruel, he gritted out through clenched teeth. Stella, let's pack our things. They finally started moving. Throughout the entire process, Stella made a fuss, rummaging through everything and occasionally letting out aggrieved sobs. Ethan, on the other hand, was silent, haphazardly stuffing his expensive cameras, gaming consoles, and a few suits into a suitcase. He deliberately threw a photo frame with a picture of us together heavily into the trash can, producing a jarring smash. I leaned against the doorframe, watching dispassionately, without a single ripple in my heart, only a numb sensation of cleaning out old garbage. Just as they were nearly done packing and ready to leave, my phone rang. It was a direct call from Mr. Leo. I took a deep breath, answered, and my tone instantly switched to professional mode. Hello, Mr. Leo. Grace, I hope I'm not disturbing your break? Mr. Leo's voice held a hint of urgency. There's an urgent situation. The core data for the Yautech Group's new energy project has issues. They're very unhappy, and the project team is in utter chaos. I remember you were involved in the preliminary research, and you have some unique insights into this field. Could you possibly end your leave early and come into the office first thing tomorrow morning? This project might need you to step up, lead, and stabilize the situation in this critical moment. Yautech Group, the company's most important strategic client this year. This project was previously managed by another vice, Kevin, who is a close buddy of Ethan's and often tried to sideline me with the boss. I looked up, meeting Ethan's astonished gaze. He had clearly overheard bits and pieces. A surge of immense power instantly rose within me. This wasn't just a career opportunity, it was the perfect weapon for retaliation, dropped right into my lap. Without a moment's hesitation, my voice clear and steady, I replied, Mr. Leo, no problem at all. I don't have anything important going on during my leave, and I've just finished up everything else anyway. I'll familiarize myself with the relevant materials immediately. I'll report to you promptly at 9 tomorrow morning. I hung up the phone. The living room was dead silent. Ethan's face was ashen. The Yautech project? Kevin. He messed it up. I calmly interrupted him, picking up my handbag and walking towards the door, ready to head to my study to review the documents overnight. So, now it's my turn. Please close the door behind you when you leave. As I brushed past them, I saw the faint fragility on Stella's face freeze, while Ethan's eyes were filled with disbelief, resentment, and a hint of, perhaps even regret that he himself hadn't detected. I didn't stop. The closing door sealed away their distress and my past, together. The next morning, I stepped into the office at 8:50 a.m. sharp. I hadn't slept a wink, but my spirit was unusually invigorated. My carefully coordinated suit skirt and impeccable makeup were my best armor. As soon as I entered my office, Sarah, a core member of the project team, quickly followed me in, her face grave. MS. Grace, you're finally here. Kevin. She lowered her voice. He walked away from the project, but he left a complete mess. He personally oversaw the key data model, and now that it's wrong, he shifted the blame to the preliminary research team, implying it was a hidden issue you left behind. I sneered. Just as I'd expected, Kevin had messed up himself, but still hadn't forgotten to try and stab me in the back one last time. What's Yauteka's reaction? Very tough. Their project director is bringing his team over at 2 this afternoon, demanding our final explanation and solution. Otherwise, they might consider terminating the partnership. Understood. I nodded. Notify the project team, meeting in conference 1 at 9:30 a.m. Also, send all the materials Kevin handed over, especially the data modeling section, to my email. Yes, MS. Grace. At 9:30, the atmosphere in the conference room was oppressive. Kevin's few loyalists clearly harbored resentment, while others looked worried. I didn't waste words, immediately turning on the projector. Time is short, so let's skip the pleasantries. Sarah, please briefly outline the current predicament. As reported, I quickly scanned the data files on my computer. Years of professional experience allowed me to quickly spot the anomaly. There was a deliberate and extremely subtle deviation in the model's fundamental parameter settings. This was no oversight from preliminary research. It was a booby trap intentionally planted during the later construction phase. So, Yauteka believes our energy efficiency prediction is inflated by at least 15%, which is a fatal blow to their investment decisions. I looked up, my gaze sweeping across the room, finally landing on Liam, Kevin's trusted subordinate responsible for data modeling. Liam, I said calmly, why was the third stage decay coefficient in the model set at 0.92 instead of the industry standard 0.88? Such a minor change in this parameter has a huge impact on long-term prediction results. Liam's eyes flickered, and he stammered. This was set by Kevin at the time, based on some marginal data provided by the client. He said it would be more closely aligned with Yauteka's actual operating conditions. Marginal data provided by the client? I leaned slightly forward, my gaze sharp. Which document? What's the number? And in which communication record was it confirmed? Please pull it up now. Liam's forehead beaded with sweat. His fingers clicked frantically on his laptop, unable to find any evidence after a long while. The conference room was silent. I stopped pressing him and turned to everyone else. Kevin's blame shifting is easy to refute. I signed off on the preliminary research report. All parameter ranges and recommended values are in black and white, conforming to industry standards. Now, with a systemic deviation in the model, the problem undeniably lies in the modeling phase. I paused, my voice decisive. Now, we only have 4 hours. First, Sarah will lead the team to rebuild the core model framework, using the original research parameters. Second, I will liaise with Yauteka and prepare the communication strategy. Third, all raw data and communication records must be backed up. This is our chain of evidence. Fourth, I looked at Liam, my tone leaving no room for doubt. Liam, you will assist Sarah, and we must see preliminary correct results before the end of the workday. Any questions? My calm demeanor, professionalism, and ability to quickly grasp the crux of the problem instantly stabilized the situation. Even instinctively nodded. No problem, MS. Grace. At 2 o'clock that afternoon, Daniel, Yauteka Group's project director, arrived promptly with his team. Daniel was known in the industry for his meticulousness and demanding nature. His expression was stern, and the atmosphere in the conference room was oppressively tense. Kevin had actually shown up too, sitting to the side hypocritically, ready to watch me fail. Mr. Daniel got straight to the point. Mr. Leo, MS. Grace, the data your company provided has put our entire project evaluation at a disadvantage. I need an explanation that can convince our board of directors, and a solution that ensures no more errors. Otherwise, our partnership ends here. Mr. Leo's forehead was beaded with sweat as he looked at me. I stood up and walked to the projector, composed and confident. Mr. Daniel, esteemed colleagues from Yauteka, first and foremost, I offer our sincere apologies for the inconvenience caused by the oversight in our work. I have both the explanation and the solution ready. I didn't rush to display the new model. Instead, I first showed a comparison of 2 key documents. These are the parameter ranges from the preliminary research report, confirmed by both parties. And these are the parameters adopted in the model finally submitted by Vice Kevin. As you can clearly see, on 3 core parameters, including the third stage decay coefficient, the final model unilaterally and without justification deviated from the agreed-upon range, leading to predictive errors. Kevin abruptly stood up. Grace, what are you implying? Those parameters were based on Based on what? I immediately cut him off, my gaze piercing. Based on that marginal data you claimed existed, but for which no one can find a number or record. Mr. Daniel, our side is prepared to provide all raw data, email correspondence, and meeting minutes for your verification. Where the responsibility lies will be crystal clear. Kevin's face turned ashen, and he stood speechless. Mr. Daniel watched the projector, his eyes flickering slightly, but his expression remained serious. Even if we clarify responsibility, the problem still exists. Our project progress has already been delayed. This is the solution I'm proposing. I switched the slide, and a new model framework and preliminary running results appeared on the screen. Based on the correct parameters, our team rebuilt the core model within the past 4 hours. These are the preliminary verification data, showing that the energy efficiency prediction has returned to the normal range, and even, due to algorithm optimization, is more robust than originally expected. We commit to completing all validation and fine-tuning within 48 hours and delivering the final version. Concurrently, to ensure foolproof reliability, I propose establishing a daily liaison mechanism between both technical teams, where all data changes require mutual confirmation. I looked at Mr. Daniel, respectfully but firmly. Mr. Daniel, we made a mistake, but we dare to admit it and possess the capability and determination to correct it with maximum efficiency. Please give us another chance, and Yaotech will witness the true professional caliber of our company. Mr. Daniel gazed at the data on the screen, then looked at me, and his tense expression finally softened slightly. He pondered for a moment, then turned to Mr. Leo. Mr. Leo, MS. Grace's performance has shown me your company's sincerity and capability in handling this crisis. All right, I'll give you another 48 hours. He stood up and extended his hand to me. MS. Grace, I hope for a smooth collaboration. I firmly shook his hand. Absolutely, Mr. Daniel. After seeing off the Yaotech team, the conference room was dead silent. Kevin's face was livid. He glared at me fiercely, then slammed the door shut as he left. Mr. Leo let out a long sigh of relief and clapped me firmly on the shoulder. Grace, well done. You really saved the day. From now on, this project is entirely your responsibility. I nodded slightly, feeling not so much joy, but a deep sense of grounded satisfaction from having found my footing. I knew Kevin wouldn't let it go. And Ethan. He was probably somewhere, hearing news of my rise. After taking full charge of the Yaotech project, I practically lived at the office. The team's morale was boosted by my presence, and the construction and validation of the new model progressed smoothly. The daily liaison with Yaotech was also running smoothly, although remained taciturn and meticulous. After a few communications, I could feel his recognition of my professional competence. Just 3 days before the project was due for delivery, a storm descended without warning. First, an anonymous tip-off spread like a virus through the internal email system. The letter vehemently asserted that during the preliminary research for the Yaotech project, I had abused my position, accepted bribes from suppliers, and deliberately provided biased data. It also insinuated that my private life was chaotic and that I had an ambiguous relationship with a married client to quickly rise in rank. Immediately after, several burner accounts appeared on the company's internal forum, using a seemingly revealing tone to embellish how I had sidelined the original project manager, Kevin, and secured the project through underhanded tactics. Rumors and gossip instantly flooded the office like a tide. As I walked down the hallway, I could distinctly feel the pointing glances and the sudden silence behind my back. Mr. Leo, with a grim expression, called me into his office. A printed copy of the anonymous letter lay on his desk. Grace. What's going on? The whispers inside the company are getting really nasty, and it's already affecting team stability and the company's reputation. I picked up the letter, scanned it quickly, and a chilling calm settled over me. Though it was strangely composed, the methods were vile, but they precisely targeted both my professional integrity and personal character, striking at my most vulnerable points. Mr. Leo, I said, putting down the letter, my voice steady. This is complete slander. Regarding the preliminary research data, all sources are clear and verifiable, and the procurement process was compliant. It can withstand any audit. As for the allegations about my private life, they are baseless nonsense. I can guarantee that with my career. I believe in you, Grace, Mr. Leo said, rubbing his temples. But there's no smoke without fire. and the current public opinion is very unfavorable to us. Yaotek will probably get wind of this too. Precisely why we need to strike back faster and harder. I said, my eyes sharp. Give me 1 day. I will present evidence to prove my innocence and expose the rumor mongers. Back in my office, I locked the door. The first call I made was to Vivian. Vivian. Emergency situation. I succinctly explained the anonymous letter and the rumors. Vivian cursed loudly on the other end of the line. It's definitely Kevin and Ethan. Those two jerks. Behind this. Ethan must have shared plenty of dirt about you with Kevin. Don't panic. Collect evidence. Sue them for defamation. I'll help you contact public relations and evidence collection teams I know. Good. The priority is to prove the data's integrity and find evidence of their collusion. After hanging up with Vivian, I immediately launched into action. I pulled up all the raw data from the preliminary research, supplier contracts, bidding process records, and all prior email exchanges with Yaotek, compiling them into an irrefutable chain of evidence. At the same time, I quietly asked Sarah to keep an eye on Kevin and his confidants. That afternoon, Sarah quietly informed me that she had seen Kevin in the stairwell during lunch break, talking on the phone for a long time with a nervous expression, and she faintly overheard words like Ethan, photos, and send out. The next morning, I proactively requested an emergency departmental meeting. Mr. Leo and several relevant senior executives were present. Kevin was also seated opposite me, a faint, almost imperceptible smirk playing on his lips. Mr. Leo, esteemed leaders, I began, opening the prepared materials. Regarding the recent false rumors targeting me personally, I need to clarify them here and uphold the reputation of both the company and the project. I first presented complete evidence of data sources and procurement processes, which were clear and logically airtight, completely shattering the data bribery accusations. As for the other slander regarding my private life, I shifted my focus, my gaze directly on Kevin. I'd like to ask our IT department colleagues to help retrieve the surveillance footage near the stairwell during yesterday's lunch break, and also verify the IP addresses and registration information of those rumor-spreading burner accounts on the internal forum. Kevin's smirk froze instantly, a flicker of panic in his eyes. Mr. Leo said gravely, investigate it immediately. While waiting for the IT department's results, the atmosphere in the conference room was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Kevin was on pins and needles. Half an hour later, the head of the IT department returned to report the findings. Mr. Leo, the stairwell surveillance shows that Vice Kevin was indeed on a long call there yesterday noon. As for the forum's burner accounts, after tracking, one active IP address, upon verification, belongs to Vice Kevin's assistant's computer. The others also highly overlap with network nodes commonly used by his personal social circle. The entire room erupted. Kevin sprang to his feet. Nonsense. This is a frame-up. I gave him no chance to breathe. I took up my phone and played a recording. It was from the private investigator Vivian had hired. A clear snippet of a conversation between Ethan and a friend in a bar. Ethan, clearly drunk, said, Kevin's got it all arranged. It'll give Grace a hard time. Oh, she's so capable, isn't she? Let's see how she stays in this company. Let's bring her to public disgrace. Friend, Ethan, isn't that a bit too far? After all, Ethan, harsh? She completely humiliated me in front of Stella, and she stole my buddy's project. If I don't teach this woman a lesson, she won't know her limits. The recording ended. I put away my phone, looking at Kevin, who was pale as death, and the shocked colleagues and superiors around me. Word by word, I said, Mr. Leo, the situation is quite clear. This is a conspiracy between Vice Kevin and my ex-fiancé, Ethan, involving malicious defamation and workplace sabotage targeting me personally, with the aim of disrupting the Yaotek project and seeking retaliation. I reserved the right to pursue legal action against them. The evidence was irrefutable. Kevin slumped back into his chair. Mr. Leo's face was livid. He slammed his hand on the table. Kevin, you are a complete disappointment. Effective immediately. You are suspended pending investigation. The company will handle this with the utmost seriousness. He then turned to me, his eyes filled with apology and approval. Grace, you've been wronged. The company will certainly clear your name and fully support you in making the Yaotek project a success. I bowed slightly. Thank you for your trust, Mr. Leo. Walking out of the conference room, sunlight streamed in through the hallway windows. I took a deep breath. I had won this battle, and cleanly. News of Kevin's suspension and investigation spread like wildfire throughout the company. The pointing glances from before instantly transformed into admiration and a healthy respect. I felt no smug satisfaction, only a deeper focus on the final delivery of the Yaotech project. Concurrently, with the assistance of Vivian and her legal team, we quickly compiled all the evidence, the IP tracking report for the anonymous letter's source, Kevin's assistant's testimony, and the clear recording of Ethan's conspiracy in the bar. A meticulously worded legal letter, accompanied by screenshots of some key evidence, was sent to Kevin and Ethan's companies and residences, explicitly stating that lawsuits would be filed for defamation and infringement of reputation rights. Sue them. Absolutely. Vivian's voice on the phone was full of vigor. Not only should they pay damages, but they also need to issue a public apology in the media. Otherwise, any Tom, Dick, or Harry will dare to walk all over you. I agreed with her. Kindness needed an edge, and forgiveness needed boundaries. For people who deliberately set out to destroy me, mercy would be foolish. Ethan was the first to crack. He rushed directly to my apartment building, unshaven and with dark circles under his eyes. Long gone was the swagger he had when he stormed out with Stella. Grace, let's talk. He blocked me as I was about to leave, his voice filled with an unprecedented panic and pleading. I know I made a mistake. Kevin instigated me. I was blinded by anger. Please, for the sake of our past relationship, drop the lawsuit. Okay? I can't have a criminal record. If the company finds out, I'll lose my job. I looked at him coldly, like a stranger. Relationship? Ethan. From the moment you brought Stella into my home, from the moment you chose to leave with her, from the moment you colluded with Kevin to spread those malicious rumors, all that was left between us was animosity. And your job? I scoffed softly. What's that to me? He tried to grab my arm, but I forcefully shook him off. Grace, don't push me. If you dare to sue me, I'll reveal all your secrets. My secrets? I took a step forward, my eyes like ice blades. Are you talking about my diligent work, or my decent and honest life? Ethan, go ahead and speak. We'll see if your flimsy lies are more credible than the irrefutable facts I hold. He was forced to take a step back, the color draining from his face. Just then, Stella appeared from nowhere, still in her fragile and delicate demeanor, but with panic in her eyes. Grace, please, I beg you, let Ethan off the hook. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have come back. If you want to blame someone, blame me. Of course I blame you. I interrupted her, my voice calm but piercing. Stella, interfering in someone else's relationship and colluding in a scheme to frame them, your mistakes are far from small. Don't worry. There's a legal letter with your name on it too. None of you will escape. Stella fell silent instantly, her face white as paper. I paid no further attention to the distressed couple and turned to walk towards the rideshare car waiting by the roadside. In the rearview mirror, they stood frozen in place, like two failed statues. As the legal proceedings officially commenced, Vivian's orchestrated public opinion counterattack also began. She didn't opt for inefficient rumor debunking but rather cleverly leaked information. A popular relationship blogger, with a significant following, published a lengthy article titled Girls, Beware the Master Among. Though it didn't name names, it detailed a story of an idealized first love who intervened in a near marriage with a vulnerable facade, how the man was clueless, and how the two ultimately conspired to slander and attempt to destroy the independent and strong ex-fiancé. The article's plot closely aligned with my experiences and possessed universal appeal, instantly igniting widespread online condemnation of manipulators and scumbags. Following this, several legal and career influencers picked up the story, analyzing the defamation case from a professional perspective. While omitting real names, they showcased some non-private key evidence, such as IP tracking logic and legal validity analysis of the recording, cultivating the image of a strong woman who, despite being framed, decisively defended herself with legal weapons. The tide of public opinion completely turned. The whispers that had circulated within the company now became unanimous scorn for Kevin, Ethan, and Stella. Some even dug up Stella's dubious romantic history, shuttering her pure idealized first love facade. Under public pressure, Ethan's company, citing severe damage to the company's reputation, forced him to resign. They faced complete public disgrace. In court, faced with the complete chain of evidence we presented, Kevin and Ethan's defense was feeble. Stella cried herself almost unconscious, yet could produce no evidence to refute the claims. The judge pronounced the verdict in court. Kevin, Ethan, and Stella's actions constituted defamation and infringed upon the plaintiff's right to reputation. The three individuals were ordered to each publish an apology statement in prominent locations in local mainstream newspapers and online platforms, and to jointly and severally compensate me for emotional distress and various losses totaling $45,000. When the verdict was announced, Ethan looked at me, his gaze complex, remorse, bitterness, all ultimately dissolving into blank despair. Stella, on the other hand, completely collapsed in her seat. I calmly organized my documents and walked out of the courtroom. Outside, the sun was shining brightly. Vivian rushed over and gave me a big hug. "It's over, Grace," she whispered in my ear. "No," I said, looking up at the clear blue sky and letting out a long sigh. "It's just beginning. My new life, finally free from those messy people and situations, had truly opened its curtain." The news of the court victory, along with the strongly worded verdict, was openly announced by me on my personal social media. No accusations, no melodrama, just a simple statement: my innocence is restored, my past is severed. From now on, all is a new chapter. The accompanying image showed the verdict's outcome and a sun-drenched photo from outside a window. This move garnered even more admiration. The tainted reputation I had once carried was completely cleansed, forged into the most unyielding badge of my professional credibility and personal character. Under my leadership, the Yautech project was not only delivered on time and with high quality, but its robust and precise model predictions even helped Yautech avert significant risks and generate substantial profits during subsequent market fluctuations. At the celebration banquet, Daniel approached me with a glass of champagne. This director, known for his rigorous standards, had unconcealed admiration in his eyes. "Ms. Grace," he said, clinking his glass against mine, "the project was extremely successful, far exceeding expectations. Our group's senior management has decided to entrust your team with the next, and most crucial, phase of the strategic collaboration project. And," he paused, his voice low but perfectly clear, "I am personally extending a formal invitation to you. Yautech's newly established strategic department is looking for a leader. The compensation and authority will absolutely match your capabilities." This was a platform I couldn't refuse. Higher, broader, entirely based on my professional value. Without a moment's hesitation, I extended my hand with a smile. "Thank you for your recognition, Mr. Daniel. I am honored to accept the challenge." Leaving the company I had been with for many years, I didn't feel much reluctance. Mr. Leo understood and blessed my choice, remarking at my departure, "Grace, you deserve a bigger stage." After joining Yautech, I fully immersed myself in my new work, busy and fulfilled. Working with Daniel was a synergy of mutual understanding and intellectual challenge between experts. More often than not, we debated fiercely across the conference table about complex market data and investment logic, his meticulousness complementing my sharp insights perfectly. One night, after a project achieved a significant breakthrough and we worked late into the night, he drove me home. The car stopped downstairs. The night was still. "Grace," he said, not immediately unlocking the door. Turning his head to look at me, the neon lights outside the window cast soft light and shadow on his sculpted features. "At first, I admired your professionalism and resilience. Now, I think I'm more attracted to you as a person. Can we try to explore something more beyond our professional relationship?" His confession was direct and honest, just like his character. I looked at him, not answering immediately. A ripple crossed my heart, but it was predominantly calm. I was no longer the Grace who would commit her life to someone based on a few sweet words. "Daniel," I said, my voice clear in the quiet car, "I admire you greatly, both as a superior and a colleague. But right now, I'm more focused on my personal growth. A relationship needs time and a more natural spark. Let's just let nature take its course, okay?" He didn't seem disappointed. Instead, he offered a smile that showed understanding, even greater admiration. "All right. We'll go at your pace. I'll wait, and I'll continue to prove myself through my actions." His answer made me feel comfortable and respected. A year later, I was thriving in my new role. One weekend, Vivian and I met up at an elegant cafe, the city streets bustling outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. Vivian was scrolling through her phone when she suddenly let out a chuckle and handed me the screen. "Look, an update on that ill-fated couple," she said. It was a post from a local gossip account. The accompanying photo was blurry, but I could make out Ethan and Stella. The two were arguing outside a cheap supermarket. Ethan looked haggard, while Stella's face was full of resentment. The article gleefully described how this couple, burdened by compensation from a defamation lawsuit and having lost their jobs, struggled in their lives, their relationship eroding amidst daily struggles and mutual complaints, and were reportedly on the verge of separation. I only glanced at it, then calmly looked away, picked up my coffee, and took a sip. I felt no emotional reaction, not even the slightest "I told you so" satisfaction. They were long ago left in the dust behind me, and weren't worth another second of my emotional energy. "Oh, by the way," Vivian said, putting away her phone and leaning closer to me, winking conspiratorially, "how are things progressing with your Mr. Daniel? I've noticed the way he looks at you, it's getting less and less innocent." I smiled, looking out the window at the bright sunlight and leisurely pedestrians. My mind flashed with Daniel's message from last night, a concept for a new project that was incredibly challenging yet held limitless potential, and the accompanying line, "looking forward to working alongside you again. No rush," I said, turning back to Vivian and also to myself, with clarity and determination in my eyes. I have plenty of time, and a better version of myself to become. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comments section. Here is Roses and Love, sharing stories about marriage and women every day. See you tomorrow.